mind's always restless. Night out in the shadows, plotting moves like a chess set. While the world dozes off, I'm constructing my schemes. Blueprints of the future in the fragments of dreams. Sleep is the cousin of death, I'm avoiding the kin. Eyes wide open, let the journey begin. Through the labyrinth of thought, where the weak hearts break. But I'm digging through the darkness, chasing dawn before it wakes. The globus never sleeps, cause sleep is the cousin of death. I'm out here breathing deep, while the rest waste their breath. No rest for the wicked, I'm wide-eyed and driven. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. A river through my veins, flooding every page with the echoes of the pain. I'm a wordsmith with a purpose, carving truth from the lies. When the world's counting sheep, I'm counting how time flies. Insomniac mind, every second is a weapon. In the war against the clock, I'm always stepping. Sleep's a cousin I disown, no comfort in the night. Just a canvas for my thoughts, painted in the twilight. The globus never sleeps, cause sleep is the cousin of death. I'm out here breathing deep, while the rest waste their breath. No rest for the wicked, I'm wide-eyed and driven. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. Dreams are for the sleeping, but I'm living in the real. Grinding through the dark, where the truth is revealed. Every thought a spark, every line a fuse. I'm a torch in the night, no time left to lose. only meant to make it. Every day's a brilliant episode on the Glover Show.
What up, 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 what up? There we go. There we What up? What up, Twitch? What up, Adam? What up, Larry? What up, bots? What up, lurkers? What up, tiny people in my chatterino? Do 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 do. All right, let us take a look. Let us take a peek see. Let us take a peek see at what that news be doing. That news be behind the paywall. Boop 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 boop. And perplexity. What is up? What is up? What is up? Try Chad. There we go. What up, Sieg? All right. So, Cerebrus systems. We talked about this before. The idea that NVIDIA's got its GPUs, which have been used for AI, and Google has its TPUs. What up, Cosmic? Stampy is sleeping in the boys' bed. What was I saying? The Google has its TPUs, so it's possible that a different architecture and chip design will be what's needed for AI chips, right? And apparently, Cerebrus, which we've covered before, has introduced a new AI inference chip that significantly outperforms existing solutions. Their wafer scale engine 3, launched in March, is designed specifically for LLM inference tasks. WSE3 integrates both memory and logic on a single chip, reducing data transfer bottlenecks and enhancing performance. This architecture enables the processor to handle models 10 times larger than GPT-4, accelerating training and inference processes. In August, they unveiled a new inference service claiming to be the fastest globally, often outperforming systems built with the H100 GPUs by a factor of 10 to 20. By October, this performance advantage had increased to 3.5 times when running the latest Llama 3.2 models. These advancements position Cerberus as a formidable competitor in the AI hardware markets. We do not have any information on O1 other than what we've gotten so far. Everything else is, what you call it, speculation. What is the latest news on the size of the full O1 model? As of November 19th, which is today, has not publicly disclosed the exact size of the full model. This approach aligns with their previous practice of withholding such information for models like GPT-4. But any day now, right? Any day now. What's the estimated launch day? Or was that Sora? Yeah, just later this year. So December, I think, was what one of the people said. We don't know. Microsoft AI open sources Tiny Troop. I'm dying again. A new Python library for LLM powered multi agent simulation. In recent years, that'd be nice. In recent years, developing realistic and robust simulation of human like agents has been a complex and recurring problem in the field of artificial intelligence and computer science. A fundamental challenge has always been modeling human behavior with convincing accuracy. Traditional approaches often involve using predefined rule based systems or simple state machines, but these fell short when it came to imitating the fluid, multifaceted nature of human interaction. Most AI agents lacked true individuality, a critical element of believability. Without personality traits or goals that distinguish one agent from another, these simulations have not been able to capture the nuances of real social environments. This limitation created a significant gap between the capabilities of these systems and the aspirations of researchers and developers hoping to build multi agent systems that could perform valuable roles in education, entertainment, and beyond. Microsoft is taking a step forward in addressing these challenges by releasing Tiny Troop, an experimental Python library that allows the simulation of people with specific personalities, interests, and goals. This library uses large language models to power its multi-agent systems, making the simulated agents more adaptable and responsive to their environment. Tiny Troop was designed to go beyond traditional methods, leveraging the context-rich responses that LLMs provide to create more nuanced interactions between agents. It is the result of Microsoft's attempt to fill the gap between rule based simulations and the highly dynamic, individual specific behaviors that real human like agents exhibit. With Tiny Troop, Microsoft aims to provide developers and researchers with an innovative tool that makes it significantly easier to simulate realistic human societies. The significance of Tiny Troop cannot be overstated. In the realm of AI development, having the ability to simulate societies of agents with distinct personalities and adaptive behaviors could pave the way for a whole host of new applications. For example, this could be used in education, where students learn by interacting with lifelike historical figures, or in business, where customer service training might involve dealing with a wide variety of personalities. Microsoft's documentation mentions that one of the experiments conducted with Tiny Troop involved simulating a small community, each agent within which had different jobs, interests, and friends. The results were promising. Agents exhibited behaviors such as gossiping about events, prioritizing tasks based on their interest, and even choosing to avoid other agents when goals were in conflict. Such behaviors add an unprecedented, hey, look at that, reset the timer, unprecedented level of realism to the simulation. The ability to observe how these agents negotiate, cooperate, and even compete can provide insights into group dynamics that would be difficult to study in the real world without considerable effort and expense. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. So, jobs are not being lost to AI. Oops, AI is already taking jobs, research shows. Routine tasks are the first to go. Almost exactly like we predicted. Generative AI tools such as ChatGPT are already impacting the job market. A new study, let's take a look at your new study, shows a 21% reduction in demand for freelance jobs that are automation prone and don't require consistent human attention. All right. Paper studies the impact of generative AI technology on the demand for online freelancers using a large data set from a leading global financing or freelancing platform. We identify the types of jobs that are more affected by generative AI and quantify the magnitude of the heterogeneous impact. Our findings indicate a 21% decrease in the number of job posts for automation prone jobs related to writing and coding compared to jobs requiring manual intensive skills after the introduction of ChatGPT. We also find that the introduction of image generating AI technologies led to a significant 17% decrease in the number of job posts related to image creation. Furthermore, we use Google Trends to show that the more pronounced decline in the demand for freelancers within automation prone jobs correlates with the higher public awareness of ChatGPT's substitutability. 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 Researchers from Harvard Business School, the German Institute for Economic Research, and Imperial College London Business School studied 1,388,711 job posts on a major but undisclosed global freelance work marketplace from July 21 to July 23. Okay, so this is another article. We covered this the other day. Um, this is the same study. Let's see if there's any more information in here other than what we already have. Talking about what ChatGPT is. Talking about mid-journey stable diffusion. People who have skills that are complementary to AI tools, such as critical thinking, creativity, and emotional intelligence, may become more valuable and in demand, say the researchers, right? What do we say, right? Critical thinking, creative thinking, healthy skepticism, and media literacy. These are the tools that are going to serve you well going forward. This shift in skill demand could reshape the labor market with a growing delta between high skill, high wage jobs and low skill, low wage jobs. This is called the hollowing out, right? This is something that the the graph, y'all know the graph, right? We're gonna let's look at the graph. All right, the graph that around 1973, give or take. Prior to that, there is at least the appearance of increased productivity leading to increased wages. Post 1973, they appear to become decoupled, in which case productivity continues on the same trend line and wages relatively stagnate, right? The graph. What up, Red Hobbit? One of the now, it's it the argument featured in a couple different books that I have read over the past year. Rise of the Robots, things like that, and that this point in time, in addition to all the other conditions that occurred at this point in time, another thing that occurred at this point in time is a maturation of automation within the workplace, right? This is when we began to see more automation in factories, for instance. And then as time goes on, we start to get into computers, right around in here. So then, again, the productivity continues to go up on a steady trend. And what's happening in here is the hollowing out, right? People of, for lack of a better term, like medium skill, right? Medium skill, medium wage, right? The infamous alleged middle class, right? Their jobs started to be eaten up by automation. Low wage jobs continued, right? Because it's cheap to hire people to do cheap work, kind of thing. Not that any work is cheap, but you understand what I'm saying. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have people who got those high compensation jobs, and then you end up with that, um, the average, the median income shenanigans from some people making a ridiculous amount of money and a bunch of people making very low wages, and how when you average that out, it provides you with a false sense of what's actually going on. So, the hollowing out. Let me see if chat can give me what is the hollowing out of the labor market. The hollowing out of the labor market refers to the decline of middle skill, middle wage jobs, leading to a workforce increasingly concentrated in high skill, high wage, and low skill, low wage positions. This polarization results in fewer opportunities for middle income employment, contributing to income inequality and reduced social mobility. Key factors: technological advancement. Automation and digital technologies have replaced many routine tasks traditionally performed by middle skill workers, diminishing the demand for such roles. Globalization. Outsourcing of manufacturing and service jobs have to countries with lower labor costs has led to job losses in domestic middle skill sectors. And economic restructuring. Shifts from manufacturing based economies to service oriented ones have reduced middle income job opportunities. That's exactly what's happening here with the AI replacements of these freelance jobs. Many AI industry leaders believe that AI tools may eliminate jobs in the short term, but that many of those jobs will be replaced by new kinds of jobs where humans and AI work together. Microsoft researchers have said that workers will increasingly spend some of their data training AI systems. Many in the industry believe that AI will eventually increase productivity so much that businesses will grow and require new workers. This is my believing face. Studies are already showing some initial productivity gains in certain types of work. One study conducted by Harvard Business School and Boston Consulting found that consultants using GPT-4 complete work tasks 25% faster and produce 40% higher quality results than those without the tool. In another study, MIT researchers found that ChatGPT decreased the time needed to write business documents by 40% and improved writing quality by 18%. Policymakers may need to promote equitable access to education and training opportunities, support displaced workers through social safety nets and reemployment programs. We shall see. We shall see. Did I grab that article? Doesn't look like I did. One second. Do 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 do. Must be gone. There was an article in here that I was skimming about Amazon robots, right? And how there's some jobs that the humans are good at. Some jobs that the robots are good at. Robot can unload a truck twice as fast as a human can. What a robot can't do is look in a big bin of various items and find the one that they're looking for. That might be obscured or whatever like that, and that's fine, right? But we saw a physical example in that one video on that warehouse in which one second. Ew. I got my blood taken this morning. The reason I was late was not because of the blood taking, which I expected, but because they added some new stuff. They did not give it back. That's called apheresis. I used to give apheresis. I donated blood because I'm O positive, and at some point in time, I started doing apheresis. This is where you sit in a chair for like 3 hours, and they take your blood out, and they take some of the plasma and all like your platelets and white blood cells, and then they give you back the rest of your blood, which is also cold, right? Because it's outside your body, obviously. Um, and it's that kind of stuff is to help people who like might be going through treatment, for like something, they're immunocompromised, any of that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, that used to be something. But that was when I lived in the city, and it was really easy to get to that place. And now I don't live in the city, and it's been a minute since I donated blood. Um, and I probably should do that. Lobus the Bloodless. Um, but yeah, they added some other things because I am of a certain age, and once you reach a certain age, then you start getting other tests, which I was not expecting, and I had to read the directions on. But we'll find out if I'm still fine, which I should be. Anyways, so the video that we watched on the robot warehouse was that the robots could do like 80% of the work, 90% of the work. They did a lot of it. And when the robots needed help, there was a human being standing in like this little island, and the robot would come over and basically ask for help, right? That there was some reason it had both the bins. It had the bin it was picking into, right? Like, this is my bin of stuff that needs to be delivered. How do you stop the the closed captioning? Are you doing this? You're on a PC. If you go to the right side of the screen here, I think, or no, right here, down at the bottom, there should be a CC, right? You click this and it goes away. Lower right corner. So that's the future. How many humans do you need to help the robots? Right? And then they had, it's going to create new jobs of people who have to maintain the robots. And there was like one dude charging like a whole bunch of robots, right? And there was 100 people at this entire thing whose job was to take care of the robots. So yeah, if anybody says that the robot replacement, which will replace the routine tasks, is going to create new jobs, press them for how many, right? Press them on that question. Well, how many jobs by comparison? Well, this is no. I mean, that's ultimately the thing. What do we do? What does capitalism do when it has workers who don't consume, the robots, the AIs, and consumers who don't work, which is the humans? That is one option, Red Hobbit. You know, adapt or die, right? Like that's the thing. What up, Maddie? No, we don't eat the robots. Robots don't contain your vitamins and minerals. Post on our ChatGPT saying he works at a local news station, and they were recently told that he and everyone else that works in the control room are being displaced by AI soon. Sure, right? Surely they will train the robots to stop being babysitted. Yes, like ultimately there is they're engineering problems, right? What do you need to do? What does the human need to do for the robot? The human needs to plug the robot in. Okay, so how can we do like they had that one robot, I think it was in the LG or Samsung washer dryer factory. There was a robot in there that's job was to hot swap batteries, right? What up, Ghost in the Machine? So there's one example. Maintenance, right? That's just a matter of dexterity. Once we get to the point where there is robot hands or tools that are dexterous enough to repair the robot, or if the robots become modular and easily swap out, like you don't swap out a wheel, you don't take the thing apart and put the new wheel in and put it back together, but you hot swap or not hot swap, but you swap out the wheel module. Theoretically, you could do that with like limited points of contact and just reattach a new wheel, right? Don't replace a portion of the arm, replace the whole arm assembly. Get that robot back out there. And then yeah, you might have people repairing that shit by hand, but it's going to be a limited amount of people, right? That's why I said, Maddie, I corrected myself. You don't hot swap a wheel while being used. Damn it. Anyways, so yeah. Um new Nvidia AI chips overheating in servers, the information reports. How are you going to have the information charging me a subscription fee and then the Reuters who are reporting on the information hitting me with a subscription fee? It's too early in the morning to be accurate 100%. NVIDIA's new Blackwell AI chips are encountering overheating issues in server racks designed to hold up to 72 units. This has led to multiple redesigns of the racks to address the problem. Customers are concerned about potential delays in deploying new data centers. NVIDIA acknowledges that engineering iterations with cloud service providers are standard practice. The Blackwell chips, introduced in March, feature an advanced design that combines two large silicon squares into a single faster component. Delays and overheating issues could impact major customers like Meta, Google, and Microsoft, who were expecting chips in the second quarter. Yeah, there have been some delays. Now, there's always issues with new technology. It's the nature of putting out new technology. It's whether or not these issues are surmountable. And speaking of issues, U.S. military tests AI-powered machine gun. I was told we would not be putting AI in the kill position. I feel like I was lied to. U.S. Defense Department contractor Allen Control Systems has developed an artificial intelligence powered autonomous robotic gun system called the Bullfrog, which can target small drones. Small drones using proprietary computer vision software. Drones, just drones. There is um a story, a joke, a whatever that something along the lines of up to 7.62 caliber or 12.7 millimeter, something like that. Is the largest caliber that you can use to shoot at enemy infantry. And that above that, when you get into your 50 cal, you get into your 20 millimeter, rounds, that you are not allowed to use those to shoot at infantry, right? It's to shoot at people. Those are for shooting at equipment. And then the joke is the story is that you use that to shoot at the equipment that the soldier is wearing or carrying. And I feel like the same mission broadening nature will be applied from targeting small drones to targeting, let's say, features of the drone chain of command. As Wired reports, the Defense Department tested out the system during the Technology Readiness Experimentation event earlier this year, which allows contractors like ACS to showcase their prototype technologies to the Pentagon. Recent footage shows the vehicle-mounted gun shooting small drones out of the sky with ease. And that kind of capability is more relevant than ever as small, uncrewed aircraft are becoming increasingly common on the battlefield. During the Russian invasion of Ukraine, we saw the proliferation of drones on both sides of the conflict, and we read in various news outlets the Ukrainians were firing AKs in the air at them. Also, shotguns. I have read stories that Russian soldiers were requesting people back home send them shotguns to the front line to help take down the drones. We thought that's a good robotics problem. It's hard to hit something flying so fast, but a robot can do that with modern day computer vision and AI control algorithms. Like every time you see in the movies, well, that's a different issue, Cosmic. That's an entirely different issue. Drones are basically the pilot study. It's only a matter of time. Yeah. What was I saying? I forget. Doesn't matter. How long until armies start using drones to strike data centers? That's a good question, isn't it, Larry? According to Simone, the goal was to remove humans from the equation entirely. Oh, I remember. So, in the movies, in the TV shows, the robots shoot at people, and the people like dive for cover, and the robots miss them, and all that. There's zero evidence that that would actually be the case. It's far more likely that AI controlled, computer controlled gun is going to hit you dead every single friggin' time. According to Simone, the goal was to remove humans from the equation entirely, particularly considering how fast these uncrewed drones can fly. We are electrical engineers, and we decided that in order to solve this problem of hitting a fast drone that's accelerating at 5Gs at a couple of hundred yards, you would need an incredibly high-end current that goes through a motor and encoders that know the position of your gun at all times. Put that form factor in the hands of someone with an M4 seemed like a very tough problem. ACS's Bullfrog system is part of a much larger trend. The U.S. military is dabbling in a whole range of remotely controlled and semi autonomous weapon systems to shoot adversary drones out of the sky. Earlier this year, for instance, the U.S. Army started experimenting with rifle equipped robot dogs at a testing facility in the Middle East. The contractor claims the Bullfrog is incredibly cheap to use, especially compared to far more complicated and expensive laser or microwave weapon systems. Yeah, yeah. Some people will have reduced psychological trauma. So far, humans are still required to give the Bullfrog the green light before it can open fire. That's because there are strict policies when it comes to the use of lethal autonomous weapons. However, ACS is keen to reassure the military that it's technically capable of fully autonomous operation. Our system is fully autonomous capable. We're just waiting for the government to determine its needs. So, again, this is an example, right? Like this is in your face example of what I've been talking about with the idea of autonomous creep, right? So I have this robot gun, and the robot gun is looking for drones. And the robot gun sees the drones, right? Whatever its detection system, its radar, its whatever, it sees the drones. Now, a human, a slow ass human, has to be informed that the drones exist, that it is coming in at whatever speed, and that human needs to give it the authorization and push the button that says you can now fire the gun. At some point in time, either the speed of the drone will be such or the slowness of the human will be such that either a threat will be felt by some, military type person, some political type person with authority over military affairs, or actual damage will be done due to the reaction speed of that process, and the gun will be given full autonomy to attack things of a particular profile, right? A particular size, a particular speed, that kind of stuff. Whatever factors they want to include within those parameters. And then there won't be a human in the loop to do that. I mean, that is something that could be done. There are issues of that, Adam, in that they could not. That if they were to fire into Mexico, that creates an international incident, right? That is an act of war for a military or for an entity to fire, a government entity to fire weapons into another country, potentially hitting their citizens, then that creates an environment where you are basically declaring war, right? Like that's, or, whatever fancy term for war you want to use today. Anything with robotics requires software to make the determination of friend or foe, and that's a concern with anything that's automated. The use of fully automated systems would be uncharted territory. There's always been a person in the loop before. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. How about some good news? Africa's AI researchers are ready for takeoff. When we talk about the global, who, me? Can you not hear the words coming out of my mouth? When we talk about the global global race for AI dominance, the conversation often focuses on tensions between the U.S. and China and European efforts. Well, that'll do it. European efforts at regulating the technology. But it's high time we talked about another player, Africa. We've been talking about Africa. We've been talking about countries such as Ghana, which are, they want to be at the forefront of, AI deployment within Africa. Africa. Do you not like the term Africa, my anthropologist friend? They're not talking about the country of Africa. They're talking about the continent of Africa. Um, African AI researchers are determined to change that. They're forging their own path, developing tools that answer the needs of Africans in their own languages. However, they face many barriers. AI research is eye wateringly expensive, and African startups and researchers get a fraction as much funding as their Western or Asian counterparts. They have to innovate and rely on open source resources to do more with less. U.S., Germany, Africa. I get that. I get that. Despite that, the African AI story reflects not only persistence and innovation, but a determination to preserve cultures and shape how AI technologies are used on that continent. Read more here from Abdullahi Tsani, who went to this year's Deep Learning in Daba, a machine learning conference held annually in Senegal, to learn about the opportunities and barriers the African AI scene faces. And then some personal news. Oh, I don't care about your personal news. Oh, this is a little short thing. Yeah, let's look at the what Africa needs to do to become a major AI player. Kessel Okinga Kumu paced around a crowded hallway. It was her first time presenting at the Deep Learning in Daba. She told the crowd gathered to hear her, filled with researchers from Africa's machine learning community. The annual week-long conference, Indaba is a Zulu word for gathering, was held most recently in September at Amadou Matar Mbo University in Dakar, Senegal. It attracted over 700 attendees to hear about and debate the potential for Africa centric AI and how it's being deployed in agriculture, education, healthcare, and other critical sectors of the continent's economy. A computer science student at the University of Western Cape in Cape Town, South Africa, Okinga Kumu, spoke about how she's tackling a common problem, the lack of lab equipment at her university. Some lecturers have long been forced to use chalkboards or printed 2D representations of equipment to simulate practical lessons that need microscopes, centrifuges, and other expensive tools. In some cases, they even ask students to draw the equipment during practice lessons. Okinga Kumu pulled a phone from her pocket of her blue jeans and opened a prototype web app she's built. Using AR and AI features, the app allows students to simulate using the necessary lab equipment, exploring 3D models of the tools in a real-world setting, like a classroom or lab. Students could have detailed AR of lab equipment, making their hands-on experience more effective, she said. Established in 2017, the Deep Learning Indaba now has chapters in 47 of the 55 African nations and aims to boost AI development across the continent by providing training and resources to African AI researchers like Akinga Kumu. Africa is still early in the process of adopting AI technologies, but organizers say the continent is uniquely hospitable to it for several reasons, including a relatively young and increasingly well-educated population, a rapidly growing ecosystem of AI startups, and lots of potential customers. And they tend to leapfrog is another thing, as opposed to like, for example, the United States and Europe went through a process where, they ran a lot of telephone lines and old technology that was new at the time and then built up. Now you can go in and just drop cell towers and you get much more coverage and people get a greater degree of access, and you don't have to build that infrastructure that isn't required anymore, so you can expand into new areas at a much lower cost than you would if you had to do that. Saw that firsthand in rural Morocco. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know you'd been to Morocco. I never been. I mean, I've been outside of the United States if Canada counts, but that's about it. Entire areas suddenly had cell towers for everyone. Yeah, because, and that's the thing is like, you were in the Peace Corps. That's fucking cool. You can just leapfrog these technologies, all that kind of stuff. So like, do that shit. The building and ownership of AI solutions tailored to local contexts is crucial for equitable development, says Shakir Mohammed, a senior research scientist at Google DeepMind and co-founder of the organization sponsoring the conference. Africa, more than other continents in the world, can address specific challenges with AI and will benefit immensely from its young talent, he says. There is amazing expertise everywhere across the continent. However, researchers' ambitious efforts to develop AI tools that answer the needs of Africans face numerous hurdles. The biggest are inadequate funding and poor infrastructure. Not only is it very expensive to build AI systems, but research to provide AI training data in original African languages has been hamstrung by poor financing of linguistics departments at many African universities, and the fact that citizens increasingly don't speak or write local languages themselves. Limited internet access and a scarcity of domestic data centers also mean that developers might not be able to deploy cutting edge AI capabilities. What up, Reed? um, Complicating this further is the lack of overarching policies or strategies for harnessing AI's immense benefits and regulating its downsides. While there are various draft policy documents, researchers are in conflict over a continent wide strategy, and they disagree about which policies would most benefit Africa, not the wealthy Western governments and corporations that have often funded technological innovation. Taken together, researchers worry these issues will hold Africa's AI sector back and hamper its efforts to pave its own pathway in the global AI race. On the cusp of change, Africa's researchers are already making the most of generative AI's impressive capabilities. In South Africa, for instance, to help address the HIV epidemic, scientists have designed an app called Your Choice, powered by an LLM based chatbot that interacts with people to obtain their sexual history without stigma or discrimination. In Kenya, farmers are using AI apps to diagnose diseases in crops and increase productivity. And in Nigeria, Wari, a newly minted AI startup, is trying to build the government's first large language model with the endorsement of the government, or the country's first large language model with the endorsement of the government, so that Nigerian languages can be integrated into AI tools. The deep learning in Daba is another sign of how Africa's AI research scene is starting to flourish. At the Dakar meeting, uh, researchers presented 150 posters and 62 papers. Of those, 30 will be published in top-tier journals, according to Mohammed. Meanwhile, an analysis of 1,646 publications in AI between 2013 and 2022 found a significant increase in publications from Africa. And I'm going to go with Masakane. Masakane, a cousin organization to Deep Learning Indaba that pushes for natural language processing research in African languages, has released over 400 open source models and 20 African language data sets since it was founded in 2018. These metrics speak a lot to the capacity building that's happening, says Kathleen Siminyu, a computer scientist from Kenya who researches NLP tools for her native Kiswahili. Um, we're starting to see a critical mass of people having basic foundational skills. What about they then go on to specialize? It's like a wave that cannot be stopped. Khadija Ba, a Senegalese entrepreneur and investor in the Pan African VC funding P1 Ventures, who was at this year's conference, says that she sees African AI startups as particularly attractive because their local approaches have potential to be scaled for the global market. African startups often build solutions in the absence of robust infrastructure, yet these innovations work efficiently, making them adaptable to other regions facing similar challenges. In recent years, funding in Africa's tech ecosystem has picked up. VC investment totaled 4.5 billion last year, more than double what it was just 5 years ago, according to a report by the African Private Capital Association. And this October, Google announced a $5.8 million commitment to support AI training initiatives in Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa. But researchers say local funding remains sluggish. Take the Google back fund rolled out also in October in Nigeria, Africa's most populous country. It will pay out $6,000 each to 10 AI startups, not even enough to purchase the equipment needed to power their systems. Lillian Wanzare, a lecturer and NLP researcher at Maseno University in Kisumu, Kenya, bridles at African government's lackadaisical support for local AI initiatives and complains as well that the government charges exorbitant fees for access to publicly generated data, hindering data sharing and collaboration. This is the flip side of what goes on in the United States, right? This is the opposite of that, where the data's just out there, baby, and now I'm not saying that that there isn't a middle ground between these two things. Um, I don't know, baby. We researchers are just blocked. The government is saying they're willing to support us, but the structures have not put in place for us. Not been put in place for us. Researchers who want to make Africa centric AI don't face just insufficient local investment and inaccessible data. There's major linguistic challenges too. During one discussion at the Indaba, Ife Adibara, a Nigerian computational linguist, posed a question: how many people can write a bachelor's thesis in their native African language? 0 hands went up. Then the audience disintegrated into laughter. There were people, and then they disintegrated like Thanos, and then there was just laughter. It's interesting, interesting phrasing. There used to be these old school cartoons, right? Um, where it took these turns of phrase literally, um, and that's what I think of whenever I see something like this. Not dissolve, but disintegrate. Yeah. Africans want AI to speak their local language, but many Africans cannot speak or write in these languages themselves. Yeah, no, I imagine it's a huge issue, and I mean, it's the legacy of colonialism. Although Africa accounts for 1/3 of all languages in the world, many oral languages are slowly disappearing, their population of native speakers declining, and LLMs developed by Western based tech companies fail to serve African languages. They don't understand locally relevant context and culture. For Adibara and others researching NLP tools, the lack of people who have the ability to read and write in African languages poses a major hurdle to the development of bespoke AI enabled technologies. Without literacy in our local languages, the future of AI in Africa is not as bright as we think. On top of all that, there's little machine readable data for African languages. One reason is that linguistic departments in public universities are poorly funded, Adibara says, limiting linguists' participation in work that could create such data and benefit AI development. Yeah. Um, this year, she and her colleagues established Equalize AI, a for profit company seeking to preserve African languages through digital technology. They have built voice tools and AI models covering about 517 African languages. Lelapa AI, a software company that's building data sets and NLP tools for African languages, is also trying to address these language specific challenges. Its co founders met in 2017 at the first Deep Learning Indaba and launched the company in 2022. In 2023, it released its first AI tool, Vula Vula, a speech to text program that recognizes several languages spoken several languages spoken in South Africa. This year, Lelapa AI released Incuba LM, a first of its kind small language model that currently supports a range of African languages. isiXhosa, Yoruba, Swahili, isiZulu, and Hausa. I'm going to go with. Incuba LM can answer questions and perform tasks like English translation and sentiment analysis. In tests, it performed as well as some Hausa. Thank you. Or Hausa. Hausa or Hausa. The hope is that Incuba LM will someday power Vula Vula, says Jade Abbott, co-founder and chief operating officer of Lelapa AI. It's the first iteration of us really expressing our long-term vision of what we want and where we see African AI in the future. What we're really building is a small language model that punches above its weight. Incuba LM is trained on 2 open source data sets with 1.9 billion tokens, built and curated by Masakane and other African developers who worked with real people in local communities. They paid native speakers of languages to attend writing workshops to create data for their model. Fundamentally, this approach will always be better, says Wanzari, because it's informed by people who represent the language and culture. All right, there's a lot more to go here. I'm going to put this right into chat. It'll also be in the Discord. But I do have to wrap this up because I have to drop stuff off at the lab, not the lad. Anyways, thank you for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Like, subscribe, hit that bell to stay notified, hit that follow button for your daily AI. I will be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern. We're gonna raid over to Zach, I think. I will see some of you in various places around Twitch. I will see others of you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And in the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you forgot, and always remember that Shaggy loves you. So do I. Be great.